Hello, and welcome to GoodKnitKisses. I'm your host, Kristen, and today it is like Christmas in July. Oh my goodness, I have gotten my wintry stuff on, and it is warm in Texas, but I wanted to show you what I've been up to. I have this tam from a while ago that I made, and I wanted to turn my twisted brioche tam into a twisted brioche cowl. Yay! So, anyway, I wanted to show you guys this, and whoops, I have someone texting me at the same time. So our twisted brioche cowl comes out tomorrow. Yay! And tomorrow's video that comes out is actually live for members right now. And if you're a VIP, you've already gotten that. If you're VIP level 2 and higher, you've already gotten your PDF in your inbox with how to make this cowl. But this is made on the rotating double knit loom. So if you are familiar with this loom, then you may remember a few years ago I made this twisted brioche tam. It's got this really cool look to it. But if you've ever made a hat on this loom and you're like, I really would like this to make this in a cowl, and I don't know how to make a nice relaxed opening on it and finish it off, this tutorial tomorrow will resolve that for you. So in order to make this cowl, you can just basically make this hat, and we've left out several rows, and then you have a finishing technique. So the video will be finishing it on the rotating double knit loom, and I'm wearing it here. Now, this is a lot stretchier than another cowl design that you might want to turn from a hat. Like, this is very slouchy because of the brioche design, but you can use the same technique with another hat pattern and turn it into a cowl. So the video will help you with that, and especially to make this actual cowl. So here is the hat here that I had, and I had turned it into, like right here, you can see how we had it as a tam, a hat. Okay, so it begins with this edge here. And so we're basically matching. I'm gonna pull this off. Good morning, Lori, I'm glad you saw me. I saw your text message pop through, and I was like, I can't respond to you because I'm live. So this is the cowl pattern, and it looks just like our tam, our hat, except that the top, it's open, it has this nice rib to it, and it's not tight at the top, and it sort of matches the bottom. I say sort of because, you know, they're not completely identical. Oh, I just found I have a blocking T-pin in my, I'm so glad I didn't get that. I must have picked that up from somewhere. I had a blocking T-pin in my cowl. I was like, what? Anyway, so we're working with the rotating double knit loom. So this pattern is exclusively for this particular loom. If you're not familiar with this, this loom has two parts to it. Well, it's got several parts to it, but we have an outer loom, which functions just like a regular loom. You can see the pegs have grooves on the outside, and the inside loom, it's flipped the opposite direction. And so all the yarn goes in between, just like when you have a long loom where you're double knitting back and forth, except this one connects in the round, which no other that I know of, there's no other loom on the marketplace that will allow you to make a double knit in the round item. And so they actually have two different tops. So if you want to make an even wider cowl or whatever, there's another top that you can add on here. It's kind of tri-lobal shaped. It's kind of like a triangle. It just kind of it moves around a little bit. It pops out a little wider, and so it has more pegs. So you could use this technique with either one. So if your hat pattern or whatever works with that particular top, it will still work as well. This technique will still work as well. So basically the technique is making a ribbing at the top and then working the final bind off. Now, if you have a different ribbing style, you can use a different ribbing style and then see how I did the bind off on that. So anyway, that is what's coming up. So this is the twisted brioche cowl. And we had, of course, again, several years ago, the twisted brioche tam. So I am excited because I'm thinking about winter and because it is really, really hot here. We went on vacation last couple of weeks. So if you've noticed, I've been gone. We went to Colorado, went up to Estes Park. I mean, we arrived, it was like 37 degrees. It was like, woo! And Texas is like 115. Um, so we were gone for about a week, picked up our daughter from a mission trip, and then came back and went to South Texas down to the coast to Galveston, and it was still cooler there than it was in central North Texas where I live. We got back and it was 108 degrees. I'm like, oh, so anyway, yeah. So I'm thinking about all the cooler temps coming up in the winter, and if you like to knit in advance for your friends for Christmas, this would be a great thing to start doing. You could churn those out, and cowls are great because you know, they can go several different people can wear them, and also they're great. I think they're great for kids because, you know, they don't tend to lose them as they do a scarf, and they don't tend to take as long to make. So that's nice. Anyway, I want to say hey to some people who jumped on. Hey, Alicia, I see you. Happy weekend coming up. Janet, so cute, she says. Thank you so much. Hi, Carol. Hello. I'm so glad you're feeling better. I saw your post, my friend. I'm sorry to hear about hubby. I hope you're everybody's going to be on the mend very soon. Lori, good morning. Good morning, Joanne at GoodKnitKisses. Yarnworks by Lydia. Hey there, Lydia. How are you? Oh, Jeremy says, I ordered the loom yesterday. How long can the item be used? Item be using this loom? Not let's see. I'm not sure I quite understand. Now you can make it, well, you know, there is a limited distance here, but it can kind of bunch up. If you mean like how long of an item can you make? I don't know. Depends on how much you can bunch it up. I'm not sure that you'd need very much length on this type of loom. If that's the question you have, if you might want to rephrase a question, I'm not sure I'm fully understanding if that's it. But if you have a hat pattern though, generally you're gonna the length of the hat is probably enough to make your cowl. Look at that. So you can kind of determine that based upon your pattern. And if you've made the hat before, then you can decide where that repeat falls. It's kind of, if you're going to use your own pattern for this finishing technique, then you'll have to use your own best judgment and measurements and stuff that you know from that particular pattern. But we have it all worked out for you on this pattern. So you'll be able to see that. As far as length goes, I don't really address that. But yeah. And there's only a certain length that you can make on the rotating double knit loom. Okay, that's what you mean, like 8 inches? Yeah, that would be fine. This one, off the top of my head, I can't remember what the length is, but let me just measure it real quick. This one ended up being, I've got it on the pattern. It's about 9 inches. So I did this one about 9 inches. You could do 8 inches. You could do 6. You know, it depends on what you want for your cowl. Some people like it like really, really long, and some people want it kind of short. This one's different because it is a, like when I hold it up like this, it looks like what I call a regular cowl, you know, so, cause it's not really stretchy. So you can see how, this technique works well because it matches the width of my, cowl here. Now I'm going to show you something a little different because this one is a brioche. So you're going to see it stretch. See how stretchy this is? Most cowls that you're going to make on this loom are not going to stretch like that unless you're making it as a brioche. So this technique will match the width of your original, the beginning or first brim that you put on that first ribbing, and then your top ribbing or brim is going to be the same. So but yeah, it's totally double knit. This is reversible because it's in the brioche. You can see it's striped on the inside and it's twisted on the outside, and it's like the opposite color, and that's just how we did it. Of course, you could do all one color and have this look, but yeah, it's all loom knit. Donna and Joanne are going back and forth. I can see your text on is it a loom knit? But yeah, it is definitely knit on a knitting loom. If you double knit on needles, this has nothing to do with that. I have actually never double knit in the round on needle. No, I've done in the round on needles, but I don't do a lot in it because I've done it as brioche. It's so funny. I've done it brioche on needles, but I haven't done a lot of double knitting, just standard double knitting on needles. Because honestly, loom knitting double knit is easier than needles. I know there'll be some people who needle knit and they're like, "Ah, it's too much trouble to loom knit. I can do it so much faster with my needles." I'm going to tell you, double knitting is easier on the loom, hands down. That's what I think. So I think a lot of loom knitters would tell you that if they tried both. Hey, real quick, here's a fun little thing. Here's really into Christmas colors. Look at this. This was my first like test hat that I did for the tam, and look at the fun colors with the green and the red. Isn't that fun? Here, let me turn inside out. You can see. Ah, I did a lot longer of a brim on this one, but yeah, this was my first test on this hat. And I was like, that is super duper Christmassy. So anyway, this one works a little bit better here in the summer. But yeah, here's the matching cowl. So we have the rotating double knit loom, which makes the twisted brioche tam. And now you can do the cowl, and the cowl will come out tomorrow. And again, if you're a VIP level 2 or higher, you have already gotten it. And all the VIPs, all channel members, we do have membership on GoodKnitKisses. That video is live out to you right now, and everybody else will see it tomorrow morning when it releases on Saturday morning, our regular launch. So that's a great pattern. I like the loom too. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm totally needle challenged, Jared says. Tried and tried, so loom sounds great. Yes, fantastic. It's so good. It's just so good. Carol, I love them and they're cute and me totally so comfortable. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I have too many KB looms, but I was intrigued, she says, or he says, I'm not sure. Yeah, so this one is interesting. It has a rotating base, like one of those spice racks, like literally like a spice rack. And then these little pieces here come out. You can pop this off, but really you can pop off the top part here and take off the outer and the inner loom and then put on that other piece that makes it slightly bigger. They also have a way that you can strap on other looms here. So if you pull these pieces off and you want the ability to have this rotating part, there is this little piece that pops into the top, and it has like basically like a rubber band, and it fits your other looms, and you can put them on here. You know, it up to a certain size. So it's not a fix-all for everything, but it's really nice if you like having it on the table and it spins around. So you can see that more in my videos. It's kind of hard to show when I've got the camera set up this way, but in the video you'll see me working with it and it's rotating around, and it's really kind of nice. So especially if you like to work on a tabletop, not everybody does. I'll use that in my lap as well. It's on the tabletop when I film, but I actually just use it in my lap, rotating like that. So yeah, it works pretty well though. And then I also like to keep some extra yarn like in the middle, so it kind of holds on to, like, if I have a secondary color of yarn, it's really nice because it just stays on the inside and then nothing gets twisted and tangled. So really, really cool. I like needle knit hat since it's easier for me, faster to do ribbing, 3x2 rib. Yeah, I do make a lot of hats, needle knit, but I also end up testing them on the loom as well. But a lot of times, I think needles go faster for me, but not for double knitting. So I will say, like, seriously, hands down, the loom has it beat double knitting. And there's so many cool and I hate to say patterns, because there's like, when you start talking about double knitting on the needle, on the loom, there's not as much like really well written patterns. Like that's one of those areas in loom knitting that we still don't have a really, really good standard on. But if you go Google and look, there's a lot of people who've done like, they take an overhead picture of double knit looms and then show the patterning of how to pass the yarn along one way and along the other way and come up with really interesting stitch patterns that you can see. And I don't know that I've seen those in loom knitting, so I can go off on a whole trail. I mean, I don't know that I've seen them in needle knitting. So there's not as much out there like converting those things. I don't know. I'm going on a rabbit trail here. I know Joanne's like, Kristen, you're talking about too much. But anyway, it's just something that kind of fascinates me that we've gone to a certain length in loom knitting, but there's still so much more that can be translated over. But it's one of those areas I'm not actually not just quite comfortable yet doing. And I think some other loom knitters might agree as far as like how things are written, but I did want to show you guys how to do that, because we do have more and more people, pattern makers, designers, writing patterns for this particular loom from KB Looms. Again, the rotating double knit loom, and if a lot of them are hats, and I think it would be really fun for Christmas to take this, take that, any of their hat designs and turn them into a cowl for yourself, and or for your friends and neighbors or whoever you're making your gifts for. So how many looms do I have? I don't presently know. It could be 200 or something. I clearly have too many for myself to use. I've used them, you know, like to teach people from, you know, so they have a variety to have some knowledge base on. I've made items with my family, for my family, from pretty much all of them. Several of them I have backups on, so I've used them to teach others in like a class setting, or they're available for that. Uh, but yeah, and I do, some of them I just like to collect. I have like this wall behind me over here, you can't see the whole thing, has all of my, mostly, I mean, there's one plastic loom, has most of my wooden looms, and then I have a whole wall on the other side of the room that's all like the plastic looms. So, and it's actually a much bigger wall. So, yeah, it's fun. And then of course I've got some plastic ones up here. My flexi looms are up here. I don't know. It's just a place I keep them. It's probably not the most organized right now. I don't know if I want to count them. But if you are interested in more, but I happen to have this book here. If you want to know more about all the different looms that are available, we have our loom knitting, our knitting loom guide, that has all the looms, most all the looms on the marketplace, some that are gone. We even note if they're, you know, not presently around, but it basically shows you all the gauges, how many pegs, who the manufacturer is, what it's made out of, if it's double knit, if it's adjustable, that kind of thing. So this book right here is handy, and we have it come out every year and add in any looms that are added into the marketplace. And it's just really handy to have. And in the back is a really great guide. And also you can get this digitally on our Etsy and Ravelry stores, but it's print on demand. Like if you go to Barnes and Noble and online and lots of other places. But in the back, we have this loom gauge equivalence charts for knitting loom gauges and all the terms for them, but also recommended yarn weight, and then also changing over from needles and hooks over that, what's the equivalent, so you can see what the equivalent is. So like if you have a needle knit pattern and it calls for, say, a US 8, you'll know that you should start with a regular gauge, or RG regular gauge. Well, what's a regular gauge? A regular gauge is 1/2 inch spacing from center peg of the next, or 9/16, which can get you an average of 3 to 4 stitches per inch. So this guide will give you a whole bunch of stuff. So I used a lot of my collection to measure these. I used a lot of other resources to get that information and then compile it all. And Joanne is the wonder at GoodKnitKisses behind that, who helped me put all that together. So we worked hand in hand. I had done some on my website a while back, and then the resource became far too great, far too big to keep it on the website. It was just really, really hard to do that and manage that, and not do it as like a big giant database. It was really hard to manage, so we ended up doing it in a book form. So yes, thank you so much to Joanne. Thanks, Cheryl, for noting that. Thank you so much, Cheryl. She says the pattern on the round double knit loom is gorgeous. Yeah, so if you're just popping in, this is the pattern we're talking about today. We have the twisted brioche tam or hat. So it's one of these slouchy hats like this, but you can use another pattern of hat. It doesn't have to be this massively slouchy. This is just the nature of the brioche. But if you want to make a matching cowl out of any pattern, hat pattern on the rotating double knit loom, which is this, you can do it. And this is the twisted brioche cowl that comes out tomorrow and matches my hat. So anyway, yeah, I hope you guys love it. Sherry says, that's pretty. Thank you so much. But yeah, the new tutorial that comes out tomorrow will help you finish off yours. So to make most of the body of the hat, you'll see the video that goes with this one. You'll make most of the body of the hat. And then the tutorial that comes out tomorrow is just simply this top part, going from the main stitch pattern to the ribbing, and then binding it off to make it nice and open. And I actually played with several different ways to bind this off, and through trial and error to make sure it was the best. And I'm really comfortable releasing this out this way. So I actually thought it was going to be one way, and then it wasn't, and I tried another way and it wasn't. It's so like, I do a lot of trial and error to make sure that this is going to work for you guys. So yeah, just checking, the cowl was made with a 60 peg topper loom, just a regular default top that came. Yes, this is the regular default top that came with the loom. However, if you have a hat pattern that uses that other top, I can't even think of how many pegs it is, but if you have that other topper, you should be able to use the same technique with it. And because I believe it's also an even number of pegs. And yeah, it works really, really well. So new loom tutorial out for you all. And I'm back to the drawing board on another pattern that's going to take me a bit of time. I might slide in here with a little bit of something, something. I was trying to see if I had it sitting here. I may have a surprise short pattern next week. Either I won't have anything at all, or I'll have a surprise little short thing while I'm working on my my other larger project for you guys. So be patient with me. I'm going to sign off here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're a VIP, I'm still on vacation with my family, so I'm going to bow out from our Zoom today. We do Zooms, the members and VIPs at GoodKnitKisses, usually weekly. Unless something comes up, we do a Zoom from 11 a.m. Central Standard Time for about 90 minutes and catch up with each other. It's kind of like a little stitching club. So you can join us, and the perk in your perks is the link to that. But today I'm going to not do that and hang out with the family while we're still on vacation. So anyway, you guys have a great day. Happy knitting and crochet and loom knitting. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye.